Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Thursday, June 28th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's baseball action, look ahead to today's baseball action, go over the College World Series Game 2 from last night. It was a crazy finish to that one, and look ahead to tonight's big Game 3 tonight, the winner go-home game for both teams. Go over all the FIFA action from yesterday and this morning as well, and make picks for the Group H play later this afternoon. And I'm going to close the podcast by doing my NHL free agency predictions. Okay. The Reds defeated the Braves 6-5 as they improved to 34-46. Atlanta drops to 45-34. Jackson Stephens with the win. Sam Freeman with the loss. Raciel Iglesias gets his 15th save of the year. Not going to go over scoring because I'm short on time. The Royals defeated the Brewers 5-4 as they improved to 25-55. The Brewers dropped to 46-33. Danny Duffy improves to 4-7. Brent Sutter drops to 8-5. Willie Peralta gets his second save of the year. The Astros defeated the Blue Jays 7-6 as they improved to 54-28. Toronto drops to 37-43. Will Harris improves to 3-3. Ryan Tepera drops to 5-3. The game ended on a walk-off home run, 2-run shot by Alex Bregman. The Phillies defeated the Yankees 3-0 as they improved to 42-36. The Yankees dropped to 52-26. Zach Eflin improves to 6-2. Luis Cessa drops to 0-1. Sir Anthony Dominguez gets his 5th save of the year. This was a 6-out save for Dominguez. Impressive. The Mariners defeated the Orioles 8-7 in 11 innings as they improved to 50-31. Baltimore drops to 23-56. Chasen Bradford improves to 5-0. Michael Givens drops to 0-5. Edwin Diaz gets his 30th save of the year. The Red Sox defeated the Angels 9-6 as they improved to 54-27. LA drops to 41-40. Matt Barnes improves to 2-2. Jose Alvarez drops to 3-3. Craig Kimbrell gets his 23rd save of the year. That was a 4-out save. The Athletics defeated the Tigers 3-0 as they improved to 43-38. Detroit drops to 36-45. Chris Bassett improves to 1-3. Mike Fiers drops to 5-5. Lou Trevino gets his 2nd save of the year. The Pirates defeated the Mets 5-3 as they improved to 38-42. The Mets dropped to 32-46. Felipe Vasquez improves to 3-2. Jurasis Familia drops to 3-4. The Diamondbacks defeated the Marlins 2-1 as they improved to 46-34. Miami drops to 32-49. Robbie Ray in his first game back improves to 3-0. Wei-Yin Chen drops to 2-5. Brad Boxberger gets his 19th save of the year. The Rangers defeated the Padres 5-2 as they improved to 36-46. San Diego drops to 36-47. Mike Minor improves to 6-4. Clayton Richard drops to 7-7. Keone Kela gets his 20th save of the year. The White Sox defeated the Twins 6-1 as they improved to 28-51. Minnesota drops to 34-42. James Shields improves to 3-9. Kyle Gibson drops to 2-6. The Indians defeated the Cardinals 5-1 as they improved to 44-35. St. Louis drops to 42-37. Shane Bieber improves to 3-0. Jack Flaherty drops to 3-3. The Dodgers defeated the Cubs 7-5 as they improved to 43-36. The Cubs dropped to 43-35. Alex Wood improves to 4-5. Kyle Hendricks drops to 5-8. Kenley Jansen gets his 21st save of the year. The Giants defeated the Rockies 1-0 as they improved to 42-39. The Rockies dropped to 38-42. Reyes Maranta improves to 4-1. Harrison Musgrave drops to 0-3. Brandon Crawford walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th inning is how that game ended. Today's games, in about a minute from now, Diamondbacks Marlins. Zach Greinke and Trevor Richards. 1 o'clock, Athletics Tigers. Sean Manaea and Michael Fulmer. 2 o'clock, Twins White Sox. Jake Odorizzi and Lucas Giolito. 3 o'clock, Mariners Orioles from Camden Yards. Mike Leake and Jimmy Yacobanis. So a spot starter there for Baltimore. Cubs Dodgers. Jose Quintana and Clayton Kershaw. 3:45, Rockies Giants. John Gray and Chris Stratton. 7 o'clock, ESPN Angels Red Sox. Jaime Barria and Brian Johnson. ESPN game. I'm going to take the Angels here because I only think it's fitting that the Yankees and the Red Sox would be in a first-place tie heading into tomorrow night's action. So give me the Los Angeles Angels to get a big win at Fenway Park. Nationals Phillies. Tanner Roark and Aaron Nola. Brewers Reds. Junior Guerrera and Anthony DeSclafani. And last but not least, Astros Rays. Lance McCullers Jr. and Ryan Stanek. All right, now I'm going to go over the College World Series game from last night. crazy finish to this one. Oregon State defeated Arkansas 5-3 as they even up the series at 1 apiece and forced a deciding Game 3. I'll get to the crazy finish in a second. Bottom of the second, Jared Gates scores on a wild pitch as Arkansas takes a 1-0 lead. Top of the fourth, a home run by Adley Rutschman to tie it up at 1 apiece. Top of the fifth, Caden Griner reaches on the bunt single as a run scores. 2-1 Oregon State. Bottom of the fifth, RBI single, Luke Bonifield ties it up at 2 apiece. RBI single, Carson Shaddy, 3-2 Arkansas. Arkansas has 1 strike to go. Somebody drops a pop-up. Oregon State takes advantage. Caden Griner, RBI single, ties up at 3 apiece. And at the top of the ninth, the game-winning home run by Trevor Laranche. 5-3 Oregon State was your final. Bryce Femmel got the start for Oregon State. 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run. 3 walks and a strikeout. And your starter for Arkansas, Casey Murphy. 4 in the third inning, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. I'm going to pick Game 3. I picked Oregon State in 3 before the series started. I'm going to stick to my guns and say that will be the winner. So give me Oregon State there to win the Men's Baseball College World Series as Arkansas blew its opportunity yesterday. FIFA World Cup. Games to go over from yesterday and the early session for Group H. Group G is the group that's going in the afternoon. That was my mistake. Group F play from yesterday morning. South Korea defeated Germany 2-0. Both goals were scored in the extra time. Kim Young-Gwan, 1-0 Korea, and Sun Heung-min, 2-0 as they eliminate Germany. Sweden defeated Mexico 3-0 to clinch a spot in the knockout round along with Mexico. Ludwig Agnesson in the 50th minute, 1-0 Sweden. Andres Granqvist penalty kick, 2-0 Sweden. And Edson Alvarez in the 74th minute, 3-0 Sweden. And Sweden wins the group. Mexico is the runner-up. And Germany is not in the knockout round. Group E. Brazil defeated Serbia 2-0. They're in the knockout round. Paulinho in the 36th minute, 1-0 Brazil. Then Thiago Silva in the 68th minute, 2-0 Brazil is your final. Switzerland and Costa Rica ended up in a 2-2 draw. Blarim Zamali in the 31st minute gives Switzerland a 1-0 lead. Kendall Watson in the 56th minute ties it up at 1 apiece for Costa Rica. Josip Drmic in the 88th minute gives Switzerland a 2-1 lead. And in extra time, Jan Sommer in the 93rd minute ties it up at 2 apiece. And that's how we ended up in the draw, as Brazil and Switzerland are the two teams that advance into the knockout round. This morning, Poland defeats Japan 1-0 as Japan qualifies for the round of 16 by virtue of a better disciplinary record than Senegal. Jan Berndeck in the 59th minute put Poland on the board 1-0, but Japan goes through. Colombia defeats Senegal 1-0 as they advance. Yerry Mina in the 74th minute gets Colombia the 1-0 win. And the teams I had winning these two games, respectively, were Colombia and Poland. So I got those two picks correct. But Japan ends up advancing. Group G action gets underway at 2 o'clock. England and Belgium, 2 o'clock on Fox. These two teams are advancing into the knockout round. I think England's the better team, so give me England there. And Panama and Tunisia, 2 o'clock on FS1. Neither of these teams looked very good, but give me Tunisia there because it's just a gut pick at this point. Neither of those teams have looked very good in World Cup play. Now I'm going to do my NHL free agency predictions. I'm going to go by the Hockey News' rankings. John Tavares is the best free agent on the market. He's the biggest name to hit free agency that I can remember in a long time. Steven Stamkos came close a few years ago, but Tampa Bay locked him up before July 1st, so that essentially does not count. I remember Zach Parise was a free agent in 2012 as the Minnesota Wild stole him away from the New Jersey Devils. And then the Devils went into that long playoff drought until this past season when they made the playoffs, courtesy of the Hart Trophy season put together by Taylor Hall. There's going to be a ton of teams in the mix for John Tavares' services, as several teams have met with him, including the Islanders, who he was with the first 9 years of his career. Tampa Bay's in play for him. Boston's in play for him. I heard Dallas, San Jose. The Vegas Golden Knights were rumored to be in play for him, but I don't think they'll sign him because they didn't get a meeting with him. But a team that did get a meeting with him, and I heard he really enjoyed this meeting, and this is something I predicted a couple weeks ago when I made my off-season predictions, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I heard John Tavares was intrigued by them. He's intrigued by Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and William Nylander. But in theory here, the Maple Leafs signed Tavares and they trade away either Nylander or Mitch Marner. And they have to keep Austin Matthews. He's a franchise player. John Tavares and Austin Matthews in the same lineup would just be devastating to opponents. So give me the Maple Leafs for John Tavares. James Van Riemsdyk's an interesting free agent. There's going to be plenty of teams interested for his services. I do not think he's going back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Boston could be in play for him, New Jersey, maybe the Rangers, maybe the Islanders. A team from the West like St. Louis or San Jose could be interested. I thought Florida would be in play for him as well, but they traded for Mike Hoffman, so I don't think they're in play for him anymore. I already mentioned them. I'm going to say the Blues for James Van Riemsdyk. I think that's a great fit. They're also in play to try to trade for Buffalo's Ryan O'Reilly. I know they were in play for Mike Hoffman. The Blues can use another winger in that lineup as they look to bounce back from a disappointing season a year ago. So give me the St. Louis Blues to sign James Van Riemsdyk. I think somebody else trades for Ryan O'Reilly because I don't think the Blues want to give up another first-round pick. Because that came back to bite him as Philadelphia had a lottery pick thanks to the trade for Braden Shen. Paul Stastny's another free agent. He was formerly of the St. Louis Blues, and then they traded him to the Winnipeg Jets for a first-rounder. I think Stastny goes back to Winnipeg. Winnipeg's going to be in the conversation for the Stanley Cup this upcoming season, and I think that Stastny wants to be a part of a contender, so Winnipeg makes a ton of sense for him. Mike Green's a defenseman. He's a little bit older. Detroit stupidly didn't trade him at the trade deadline. John Carlson already signed with the Washington Capitals, so Mike Green's the best defenseman on the market. I actually think he's going to go to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They can use some help on defense, especially a veteran. They just trade away Connor Sheary, even though Sheary's a forward. They threw in Matt Hunwick in the deal. Matt Hunwick's just a veteran defenseman who bounced around the last couple of years. He was with the Rangers 3 years ago, and then he was with Toronto for a while, and then he was with Pittsburgh. But the Penguins need some help on defense. I think Green would be a nice veteran addition to that club. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins for Mike Green. James Neal was tremendous in his contract year at the Vegas Golden Knights. Does he go back to Vegas? I think that's in play, considering that they just made the Stanley Cup final, and I know the Knights want to be good again next year. Instead of taking a step back, they're going to do everything they can to make themselves better, because I think they know internally that some guys like William Karlsson and Jonathan Marchessault aren't going to have the years that they had this past season. So makes an interesting case for the Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, the Blues are in play for Neal. San Jose, the Kings, the Ducks. Can name a bunch of teams. The Minnesota Wild can use him. But I think he goes back to the Vegas Golden Knights for all the reasons I just mentioned. I can see the Islanders in play for James Neal. Maybe the Rangers, maybe New Jersey. Joe Thornton, I think, goes back to the San Jose Sharks. That's too easy. I just don't see the veteran leaving San Jose. Although Patrick Marleau left last year, so. David Perron was a big part of the Vegas Golden Knights' success. I think he leaves and goes elsewhere. I think a team like the New Jersey Devils would be an outstanding fit for Perron, and that's where I think he ultimately winds up. Because they need some help offensively. He's somebody that could be in one of the middle two lines for Jersey. He's a good player. Rick Nash. This is interesting. I'm going to say he goes back to the Bruins. If not, he retires. Although there are rumors that Columbus wants to bring him back. The Rangers might bring him back. But I thought he was a nice fit for Boston. Boston lost out on Ilya Kovalchuk. And even though Nash didn't perform for them in the playoffs, he's a veteran. And I think the Bruins like some veterans in that clubhouse. They're going to be a cup contender next year. So I can see Rick Nash wanting to go back to Boston. Tyler Bozak. I do not think he will be back with the Maple Leafs. I think he'll be elsewhere. There's going to be some teams interested in Tyler Bozak. I could see the Islanders, the Devils, maybe the Blues, maybe the Canadiens. I think that would make a ton of sense. I can also see a team like the Winnipeg Jets interested if they don't bring back Paul Stastny. Maybe the Vegas Golden Knights as like a veteran that they can bring in. But I really like the fit of the Colorado Avalanche for Bozak. He could just step right in and be a veteran in that dressing room with that young team there. So let's say the Avs for Tyler Bozak. Riley Nash is interesting. He was pretty solid with the Boston Bruins this past season as a bottom six forward. The ex-Carolina Hurricane, and that's an interesting one. Will they bring him back? There's talking about the Maple Leafs for him. I don't see him going to Toronto. Maybe the Canadiens. There's talks that he could go back to the Bruins. There's talks that he may meet up with the Vancouver Canucks. I could see the Devils going after Riley Nash. The Red Wings even. But he would make a lot of sense for the Vancouver Canucks. He's just a guy that can come in and produce and help the young players there. So let's say Riley Nash goes to Vancouver. Patrick Maroon. He's an interesting guy. Will he stay with the New Jersey Devils? Will he go elsewhere? Does he go back to Edmonton maybe? The Islanders, would they be interested? Philadelphia? The St. Louis Blues are interesting. Would Boston be interested? Winnipeg would be interesting. Vegas even. But my pick for Patrick Maroon, I think he goes back to the Edmonton Oilers. I just think that makes a lot of sense. And I think he likes playing with Connor McDavid in Edmonton. Michael Grabner, he did not work out as a trade acquisition for the New Jersey Devils as they gave up a second-round pick to get him. He was great with the Rangers, Grabner, and they took advantage of his trade value, and the Rangers ended up swapping that second-round pick to move up to the 22nd pick to draft Keandre Miller. I think that there's a significant interest around the league for Grabner. I think that the Islanders could be interested in bringing him back as well as the Rangers. I think Philly would be interesting for Grabner. Pittsburgh. Carolina. There's a lot of teams I could just stroll down. The Minnesota Wild are interesting. The Jets. St. Louis, San Jose, the Ducks. Colorado. But I like his fit and his role with the Rangers. The Rangers are entering a little bit of a rebuild, but I really think that they want to bring him back at a reasonable price as like a veteran and a guy that brings a lot of character. So let's say Michael Grabner returns to Broadway and signs with the Rangers. Thomas Vanek is somebody that's bounced around the league the past couple years. He was with the Columbus Blue Jackets recently as he was traded from Vancouver to there. He's pretty much been at a bunch of different places throughout his career. I think the Canadiens would be an interesting fit. He was with them a couple years ago as he was traded from Buffalo to the Islanders, and the Islanders traded him at the trade deadline to Montreal in 2014. I could see the Red Wings interested in Thomas Vanek. Maybe the Chicago Blackhawks. The Bruins were a trade possibility for him last year. But the team I think that's going to sign him is a team that I think that's going to need some veterans. And that's the Calgary Flames, who just traded away Dougie Hamilton for Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin. I absolutely love that trade for Calgary. I think they got the better end of it. And I think Bill Peters would like somebody like Thomas Vanek, so I think he will sign with Calgary. Carter Hutton, backup goalie, who had a nice year last year. I think he goes back to the St. Louis Blues because I just think he likes playing there. Robin Lehner, who did not have a good year last year in Buffalo. But I think they bring him back on a one-year deal. So let's say he goes back to Buffalo. And I won't be shocked if it's in a backup role. Calvin DeHaan. He's a solid defenseman. I think he goes back to the Islanders. He's coming off an injury, and I could see the Islanders giving him a good price. Valtteri Filppula is an interesting free agent on the market. He's a good all-around player, a vet that would fit on a bunch of contenders. I could see Washington going after him if they lose Jay Beagle. I could see Philadelphia going after him to bring him back. I could see New Jersey going after him. Detroit would be interesting for Filppula. There's a ton of teams that I think would be interesting for Filppula. And I think the team for him is Detroit. I just think that would be a solid fit as he can come in as a vet and help out those kids down there. Next up is Mark Letestu, another good center that can help out on the power play, can win faceoffs for you. I could see a bunch of different teams interested. I could see Columbus bringing him back. I could see him going to Edmonton. Pittsburgh's it would be interesting. Boston, if they miss out on some players. San Jose would be interesting. But I think he goes back to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I just think that's a good fit for him. And that's it for the NHL free agency predictions. I'm going to look back at this in about 2 months from now and see how I did. Because that's when I assume all the big name free agents would be signed. I'll admit right now that I was dead wrong on John Carlson. I thought he'd leave for a different team, maybe New Jersey. They had cap room to sign him. I could have seen him going to Vegas. Pittsburgh was trying to make a splash, so that would have been an interesting landing spot. But good for the Capitals to bring back John Carlson. They want to defend their title instead of let their guys go in free agency like the 2010 Blackhawks did, or trade them to. Because I know Chicago broke up that cup-winning team in 2015. I remember they traded Brandon Saad after they won the 2015 Cup, and good for Washington trying to keep that group together. I'll be back tomorrow recapping some FIFA, going over all the baseball action, going over College World Series Game 3 and who wins the College World Series, and any other news that breaks around sports. And we also have the Kawhi Leonard saga going on. Maybe Kawhi Leonard's on a different team before I do tomorrow's podcast. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.